Today on Super Beast, we're going to be changing out the alternator. What's going on, guys? It is a very crappy weekend here in Edmonton, Alberta. It's raining for the whole weekend pretty much, so nothing else better to do than work on the cars and work a little bit. So here I am in the garage. As you've seen, I will be changing out the alternator, the D, on the Supra. It's going to be a fairly easy, quick job. I will show you why that is. Give me a second here. All right, so I'm going to flip you guys around. So as you guys can see, there's the alternator. Super easy access. There's no tensioner on the alternator itself like a lot of vehicles, which I like. I like that the alternator is 2 fixed bolts and the tensioner is right here. No, there it is. Yep, that guy right there, that one single bolt. So hopefully I'm gonna be able to move that with everything in the freaking way. That's gonna be a challenge, probably the most challenging part. But I'm gonna take the intake piece off here and it'll give me total access to the alternator down there. That alternator is actually a low kilometer TT 6-speed alternator that I got off a buddy. Can't remember what I paid for it, but it was like 60,000 K on it. And when I was driving to a car show, the voltage on the dash was showing low, not low, but like 13.5, 13.6. And I'm just used to seeing it higher in my other vehicles. So after doing a little research and testing the charging system when I got back from the car show, I deemed that the alternator in this car is fine. It was charging 14 volts constant at idle. I didn't even test it when it was running higher than idle, which is when it would have more output. But 14 volts at idle, and yeah, so basically the alternator's fine. I'm wondering if it is my battery. But nonetheless, when I was at the car show and I seen that number, I instantly ordered a Denso unit. This is actually an upgrade because this is for the automatic cars, and the automatic cars have 10 more amperage than the manuals. So this is a 100 amp alternator, whereas that car is a 90 any other given time. So I'm gonna swap in the upgrade, and it's a pretty cheap thing to buy, to be honest with you. It's 230 bucks Canadian, I think. And I'm getting allergies, that's why my eyes are kind of red from the pollen already coming out. But yeah, that is the replacement. It's a Denso. I wouldn't go any other way. A lot of people get the McMahon, but I have buddies who reached out to me and they said not to get the McMahon because they haven't had the best of luck with the McMahon, and the McMahon is like a 240 or 260 amp upgrade. I can't remember. But basically people are having a harder time keeping alternators in the 2J, 1J cars with the high horsepower because of the heat, from what I can research. So even if this one lasts 2 years for 230 bucks, that's fine. I'd rather it last a long time, but what can you do if it's a problem? Maybe I'll come up with a ducting system to cool that alternator off. I have no idea. But anyway, I'm gonna get to changing this one. This one has an aftermarket pulley on. I still haven't decided if I'm gonna put it on that one because that one's just all brand new, put together, looks nice. But the other one, you'll save like 0.002 pounds, so why wouldn't we? But yeah, I'm going to start this. Hopefully I can get that tensioner off somehow. That's gonna be the main thing, or the main pain in the neck. So here goes nothing. All right, so I ended up getting that, and it wasn't too terribly bad, but I did have to hold. And there she goes. Well, I will be using that. I wasn't gonna use that, I was just gonna leave it on the pulley, but now I'm gonna use it. So there is the alternator. As you can tell, it was leaking coolant from up there, but since fixed it was coming out of here, if you recall. So this has been welded up, And then when I put this bottom sensor in here, it was leaking as well. But there should be no leaks now. I'll use this video for my inspection, but it looks pretty good. So shouldn't be leaking anymore. Funny story, this sensor here uses the housing as a ground. So when this is powder coated, you can no longer use it as a ground. So my temperatures were all over the place in the car. I was like, what the hell's going on? So I used some chicken wire to wrap around the sensor. You can barely notice it when there's no light on it. And it's just touching the head. So I have a sensor now. You can see it there. So anyway, there's the alternator. Super easy to change. 2 bolts. Got a top one, 14 mil, and a bottom one, 14 mil. And you know what? I just thought of something. I don't know if that's enough space for the alternator to slide off of. I may have to take my fan off, and I do not want to do that. But what are my options, right? And I'll show you why on my other engine over here. See, this is where the alternator sits right here. So it has to slide off this. So, and obviously I could take the stud out, but then you'd have to put it back on. You still have to put the alternator on. Might be more difficult than I thought, but still a relatively easy job to do the alternator. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I guess I'll try it out, and we're gonna see what needs to happen. If you can see what I'm saying here. So I don't know if we're gonna have enough room to slide it off that stud, but maybe I'm overthinking. First things first though, disconnect the positive, right? Because that is a power, and it will very easily touch anything and ground out and short out. So you want to undo the positive battery terminal first thing. So remember that. All right, guys, that was way easier than anticipated. I had no problem getting it off that stud whatsoever. I honestly did think as I was down there that I was gonna have to take the radiator fan off because of the clearance, but I should have known better. It's Toyota. They do things, for the most part, that make sense. And that is why I respect Toyota so much, and I love Toyotas. Is because you don't run into issues. The STI is not even that bad, but like issues even like the STI where you're like, why would they do it like this? Just all the vehicles I've had in the past, Toyota definitely seems to have their shit together when it comes to regular DIY maintenance. So I'm going to show you where I'm at now. Okay, so that's where the alternator was. That's the stud I'm talking about. And the stud, like, it came off just perfect fine. You just have to turn the fan so the alternator fits the best through the fan, like it's not taking a fan blade, and just literally take it and pull it up. So very easy to do. 14 millimeter will be your friend, and a 12 mil to get the power cable off. And that's about it. 12 and 14. But I am going to put the new one on. And I don't know if I'm going to do the pulley swap. I'm going to measure them, make sure they're identical. And then I'm going to probably take this one off just so it matches the set. And then put it on the new one. So there's the new one. So I'm gonna get my caliper gauge out and just make sure they're the same. They physically look the same. I'm gonna measure the inside diameter because it looks like the lip's different. But yeah, I'm gonna put this bad boy on. It looks a little bigger. What do you guys think? Like, not the mounting holes, but the body of the alternator looks a little bigger, and that might just be because it's 10 amps bigger. Looks like there's some fluid in there. I'm not an alternator expert, but I'm trusting that Rock Auto and Denso know what they're doing. Not so much Rock Auto, but Denso. See, it's a Denso part number here. It's a Denso remanufactured Heard nothing but good things about the Reman dental stuff, so they run just like new. But yeah, it's interesting. The body physically looks smaller, and I'm 99% sure it is. But that's probably because of the 100 amps versus the 90 amps. So let's get to her. All right, guys, so I measured both of the pulleys, and sure enough, this one is like 1.5 to 2 millimeters bigger at like within the grooves. This is 0.58 mil, I'm rounding, and this is 0.6. This is 58 mil, this is 60 mil. So there's roughly a 2 mil difference in the pulley size. So I'm gonna go research what I purchased, because I don't think this was an underdrive set, which would obviously change the diameter of the pulley. And truth be told, I'm probably just gonna leave this pulley on. I mean, especially if it's meant for this pulley and dialed in with this pulley. It can't be, you know, it can't make that much of a difference for an alternator pulley. But I'm gonna go do some research before I put it back on. See what I bought, see what differences it'll make if I swap them, and just go from there. Obviously, a smaller pulley is going to spin more than a larger pulley, right? So yeah, let me go do some research. I'll be back. All right, everybody, I'm back. So the research I did actually purchase the stock size pulley set, which I thought I did. The underdrive set, the alternator pulley is 2.9 inches, I believe, and mine is factory. Now, that being said, they are a little different. They are a little off by a couple mils, and I don't think that's a huge deal, but I'm gonna show you something. So when you do switch out an alternator on a JZ, something that is important is you wanna make sure that your plug is an oval plug versus a round plug. The round plugs came predominantly on older Aristos, older 2jz models. I think some of the Supras have the round plug, I think. Maybe like the early 93s. But yeah, so I have an oval plug, and the new alternator has a round, just kidding, it has an oval plug. A round plug they plug into the back somewhere. So yeah, I'm super stoked. New alternator, so it's just another thing that I don't have to worry about. And I don't think I'm gonna switch out the pulley. I am going to just run this black sheep pulley here. I call it a black sheep because the rest of my kit has the shiny, nice aluminum, but this is a bigger housing pulley, and it's probably dialed with this pulley. I'm just gonna leave it as is. Putting a smaller pulley on it obviously will make it overdrive, if you will. It'll spin it faster, which will probably wear it out faster, and I don't want that. So I'm gonna try to keep this one alive as much as possible. So I'm probably gonna clean this alternator up, this other one, the old one. It's, here, I'll show you. It was a lower kilometer one, but it's an OEM Toyota. It's not too dirty. It just has some crusty coolant spillage on it. But I'll probably get it tested. I know a place nearby in St. Albert that'll test it for me. And when I came home after the car show, I tested it myself for like 20 minutes straight, and it was perfectly fine. The output on the alternator was 4.2 or 4.3 volts. I can't remember exactly. Look like I touched my nose and got it dirty from the alternator. Oh well, I'm in the garage, that can happen. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the new one in, and we'll go from there. So just be sure when you are ordering your alternator for a JZ that the plug matches your harness. That's it. All right, guys. She is in there, and she looks way bigger. It fills that space way bigger, even though it's just a little bit more bigger than the other one by like a couple mil. It just fills the space way bigger. Another thing that you may all have noticed that I didn't until putting this on here was that the plug is actually pointing up, where the factory one was behind the housing. I'll just go show you. Now, Denso is an OEM manufacturer for Toyota, so see how this one's on the back? Well, now the other one's on the top, which I don't really know how I feel about that. Reason being, if I ever got a coolant leak there again, which I did in the past, just because that's where all the sensors are and everything, and this, it's going right into the connector. So I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm going to put all these together so it's nicer. Now that it's pointing upwards, I'm gonna get the power cable on there and everything should be good as gold. So I'm gonna finish up. She is done. In my opinion, it fits better than factory. Just the way that this cable runs across it and attaches to the bracket, it just fits nicer. So the only thing I don't like is that the connector is right there. I don't think that has never leaked, but it is a rubber slash silicone hose, so you never know. But it fills the space better. I think it fits better than the other one. It is a factory alternator, but there is so many variations between the JZ engines and Toyota in general. But that's it for this video, as always. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm trying to do a lot of filler videos as time goes on because we're waiting for the weather to clear up, be nice. This thing's gonna hit the dyno soon. We're going to wire in my BTI gauge, and that way I can see everything that the ECU sees, whatever I want for the most part. So we're gonna be doing that. It's gonna hit the dyno real quick, and you guys will all see what it puts down. I had some fun with it on a couple Fridays ago when the weather was decent, and she's really healthy. So I'm super stoked about that. The only problem with this thing is my frickin' RPM gauge. I'll try to put the video in before I end the video, so like something here, like you'll have it. So you guys will see that. And yeah, I'm really sick of the RPM gauge, but that's pretty much the only thing that's holding this thing back from being 100%. The alternator I thought was, but I really don't think it is the alternator. The battery is probably 3-4 years old, so that should be swapped out too. So just little things like that, little nitpicky things. But now that the alternator is brand new, that's pretty much the last thing I was waiting for. That and installing my TRD diff, and then she's done. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Got a lot of automotive stuff on this channel if that's what you're into, and other things too. But if you haven't seen the video already, we are getting 2 JDM Foresters. So you'll see the process I did with the STI all over again with the Foresters. And it's just a fun time. I love getting vehicles from Japan. There's a lot of challenges. Not a lot of challenges. I shouldn't say challenges, but there's a lot of things you find. The whole process is fun. The STI had little things in it that I could tell that the family who owned the car before obviously had kids. There was little toys everywhere. Just stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna end it here. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. Hopefully the weather is nicer where you're at. And till next time.